My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Slay the Spire Downfall. We're going to be continuing with the Guardian, a construct of the Spire, programmed to defeat it. Now, we've seen that before. What we haven't seen before is the bronze gear having the text at the start of your turn, Brace 2. The heck does Brace mean? Let's have a look. Ooh, different energy gem for this character now. Okay, gain 10 block of a defensive mode, otherwise Brace 10. Brace, reduce the HP lost required to trigger mode shift by 2, triggering mode shift if the HP lost required is now at 0. So this is a counter that if it should ascend to, what is it, by, triggering it by X, how much does it take to get into defensive mode to trigger the mode shift? Is that innate on anything here? I'm assuming that this just instantly gives you mode shift. So I'm assuming that 10 is the amount that the brace stacks to. We'll see that over the course of the fights, though. Rare colorless card to obtain for 21. The fact that we get to upgrade it in the first space means that choices that give you a rare card are so much better in this mod than they are in the base. The only problem is, should we take that and should we immediately upgrade? We have a path of 3 elites with no rests in the middle, no midline shop. Wow, actually, the value of this path is minimal, despite having 3 elites. So we take a path down here, we get an early question mark, we get the Emerald Elite, we get another question mark, we get another elite, and then we get one more elite down the very end, or we can, I mean, it does have optionality. That's what I'll give this path, right? I have the ability to choose to only go for 2 elites and get a shop later here, or I can go for the 2 elites. That's if I want to avoid the emerald. I can go for the emerald elite, and then I can go to left afterwards so that I can bail out of the 3rd elite. It's got optionality on its side. But gosh, I'll be damned if I'm not a little... Well, actually, there's only 3 midline fires on the entire map. Be damned if I'm not a little off-put by that, to be honest. The bomb. We can take the bomb, try and play very, very early into a defensive ideal, and then just use the bomb as the way that we deal our damage. We can do that for the first floor pretty happily, quite consistently. It's going to fall down in the gremlin knob fight unless I've generated enough defense to be capable of playing skills for a couple rounds at the very start of it. Because the gremlin knob is gonna, it's gonna be 2 bombs to kill the gremlin knob. And by the time those have gone off, I have had 6 turns worth of playing skills, and one of them is to play another 2 cost. It's rough. Oh, okay, so it's actually 20 to trigger mode shift. What's the upgrade for curl up then? 1313? Interesting. A lot of the base card set has to have changed to accommodate that. That's disappointing. I mean, it's not like the curl up would have saved us here either, I guess. Wah. Okay. Shield Charger, Emerald, and Vent Steam. Shield Charger has been changed since we last saw it to have Tick, Brace 2, then gain 8, and a... energy. Volatile. So when it leaves stasis, it exhausts instead of entering into your hand. So the tick is going to occur at the start of each turn, giving us the brace 2, then gain 8 block. If I can find a way to cheat this up into stasis, I'm more than happy to have it. Otherwise, it's a bit rough. It's extra energy on following turns, which is nice when I have, an expensive defense. It's extra brace, it's extra block, it's everything that I want with this deck. I just need to find a way to actually get it in play without having to play it myself. Unless, of course, I do play it myself. Which will happen from time to time. Okay, so now we're in curl up. Whoa, defensive mode. What do you do? Defensive mode starts. Gain 10 block when entering defensive mode. Whilst in defensive mode, you have 3 thorns. Gain 10 block at the start of your turn and your block does not expire. Oh, okay. You'll exit defensive mode at the end of this combat round. Okay, so it still is individual rounds that it actually triggers. Mode shift does still also increase this information isn't necessarily shown anywhere, unfortunately. Mode shift still does increase the amount of HP you need to lose in order to trigger it by 10 each time, which means that a deck that is consistently in defensive mode is not it's not really a thing. The amount of brace that you would have to be able to generate is wild. Also, one of the biggest things that they've changed, and I feel like this probably did need to be changed, if we're talking in retrospect, is that cards being played no longer give you extra block. And the reason that not only can cards being played not just give you extra block, but also it's much harder to enter defensive mode. And it's because I found a lot of the time, or rather the reason that I feel that that's a good change, is because a lot of the time I found it was optimal to just build a Guardian deck where you ran a bunch of zero-cost cards, got a bunch of entries into defensive mode, and then just did a huge amount of damage to your enemy using zero-cost cards and cards that generate other zero-cost cards. You know, your fragmented gems, your crystal wards. And kind of just overwhelm them that way. This feels a bit more Guardian-y. There we go. I like keeping the defense as well for an extra turn. I think it is pushing so far as I can see. I mean, obviously, this is my first interaction with it so far, and I'm, 2 rooms in. There's way preliminary to make any, actual huge assessments. But it does feel like this is pushing more in the direction of playing defensively. Priming shot. Wow, they changed priming beam. Is beam no longer a theme for this character? I wouldn't be entirely surprised by that. Temporal strike, priming shot, and then piercing hide. Gain 7 block, 2 temporary thorns, brace 3. I'm going to take the piercing hide for not only consistency with the previous ideal I'd set out for myself in how I'm going to be running this deck in terms of defense, and then having other effects, thorns, bomb, etc., deal damage for me. But another reason that I'm going to want to take this is just so that I have a socket in the deck, because I've got 2 sockets in Twin Slam right now, no sockets in Curl Up, and it doesn't even get one when it upgrades anymore. So if I want to start taking gems, I pretty much need to have some guarantee that they're going to be useful. Well, we get them all. Interesting. Walker Claw made it through. So strength still must be a fundamental part of this character. Recover is not bad here. 8 block, 4 brace. Also the ability to place a card from my discard card into stasis. So that could be the way that I end up playing a shield charger. Or it could just get the bomb back, put it into stasis, and then 2 turns time, I'll play the bomb again. Yeah, happily lose a strike. Oh my gosh, yes, that's great for me. And it sets up the extra 100 gold I'll be able to get on a later run. Okay, I can get 12 block here. Okay, taking 6 damage. Yeah. I am, but only because I have to be. Enemy doesn't attack this turn. We have the ability to use our shield charger finally. It's probably not right to curl up here. Just gonna strike. Alright. And now we get ultra defended. I think the bomb might just be incredible with this character, with the way that it is going to align with the turns that we can defend with mode shift. So I'm going to be trying to focus on making sure those turns line up correctly. Yeah. Ancient Power got nerfed. It's, yeah. Gain a dex and an artifact, add a random power card to your hand. It costs 1 less this combat. I don't dislike that. It's a dex and an artifact. Random power card to your hand, it costs 1 less this combat. Power cards that relate to stasis, we'd be a little bit interested in. Power cards that relate to stats. I don't even know the full set of powers at the moment for this character as well, so... That said, it feels like defensiveness is definitely the kind of thing that we want in this deck. It's just... how much of this deck do we want to be set up? Because this is set up. This is set up. This is set up. This is set up. Right? How much of this deck do we want to be set up and how much do we want to be execution? I feel like I'm actually pushing myself in the direction of that piercing hide right now. Red Candle. Whenever an attack deals unblocked damage, apply 2 soul burn. I love the idea of being able to use that. But I don't know if I can. It is slow execution on enemies and multi-hits. There are some multi-hits, or at least there used to be some multi-hits in the Guardian. A lot of those multi-hits were beam cards, though. And the problem with that is I just saw a card that used to be a beam card that is no longer a beam card. If the beam archetype, if the beam set, if the beam package has been removed entirely from this character, how likely is it that Red Candle is useful? Let me take the Sapphire key. Get all the keys super... Oh. Love it. Ooh, that one there too. Unfortunately, we didn't get the bomb early enough. Okay. Enemy stands up next turn. If I do that and then hold, we'll enter brace the turn the enemy stands up. Perfect. Lining up those things is going to be absolutely ridiculously important to me. And then because we keep the block for the next turn, I'm going to over-defend this turn. Bomb number 1. Bomb number 2. Question card. Future card wards have 1 additional card to choose from, as well as the Emerald Key. Gem Cannon. Exhaust all gems and all socketed cards. Deal 10 damage to a random enemy for each gem in those cards. Upgrades to retain. Okay, so the upgrade to retain gives you the ability to run this as your finisher in a deck that has a reasonable amount of gems in it. Didn't this just used to affect the ones you have in your hands? Because if it did used to affect it, I can't remember what it previously did because I never found a way to actually utilize it effectively, but I knew it did 30 damage. Upgrades to 40, I think, at the point. So the change has been changing damage for the ability to affect all cards in your deck. Interesting. Not for this deck, but I'm more interested to try and build something around that now. Especially with retain, it makes it feel a lot more usable. There's the priming shot. I mean, damage plus brace isn't awful, but it's up against an emerald, and I would happily... I mean, honestly, I'd probably put the emeralds into Twin Slam so that I can play this without benefiting from dex, and then play my dex gaining or block gaining cards afterwards. Find ourselves in a room full of potions. So I'll drink my max HP there. Liquid Bronze is going to be incredible for us in one fight, at least. 2 burn statuses cards I probably can't afford to put in here, so no vexing draft for me. Blessing the Forge. Yeah, yes, but not against any of the cards that I'm currently holding. Potions rather, so. At least we got the bomb on turn 1. At least we got that. I could also probably run out Curl Up right now just to try and get into... Well, Curl Up earlier. Bomb definitely goes out. I think Curl Up is actually the correct choice, though. Yeah, I'm going to brace my way into defensive mode. Hmm. I always knew this was going to be our worst fight. At least it wasn't the one that killed us. Hey, Letter Opener is going to be really good for us. Every time you play 3 skills in a single turn, deal 5 damage to all enemies. It's another shield charger, and it's up against Repulsor, but the thing is, we have a single recover in the deck, so we have a really good way to utilize the shield charger here. Repulsor is very... Ooh. Oh, right, of course. Yeah, it's actually, this is sharing pretty much exactly the same Repulsor between this character and the new character, Automaton. I mean, they are both constructs of the Spire. It kind of makes sense. It's between Shield Charger and Repulsor here for me. Repulsor is really, really good when we get to Niao. I'm seldom going to put statuses into my own deck. I haven't found enough ways to benefit from that. I think I'm just going to take the Shield Charger. If I see another Repulsor later, maybe then that's when I'll go for it. Because I know this isn't going to be a Gremlin Knob, I know it's going to be fine for us, so we can still go back in that direction now. Fill up, recover. Go, hit him with a strike. As much as I would love to get that Shield Charger out there, I would prefer to save all of my HP. That'll do it. We're well defended this turn, but we can also use the opportunity to split the enemy as a way to stun them. They split, we end turn, they die, we leave. And get ourselves 14 souls, as well as... Ooh, Tourmaline! A gain 1 temporary thorns gem. There's also the crystal... Oh my god, the art on that is incredible. There's a crystal ray here. Deal 10 damage. Damage is increased by 2 for each gem in all of your socketed cards. I think this used to be damage increased by 1, upgrades to 2 for all of your socketed cards. So this is trying to increase its value by base. Walker Claw Reroute. It's either Tourmaline or nothing here. It could easily just be a Tourmaline. We put that in a Piercing Hide. We'll be able to socket both of the gems that we have at the start of the next floor. Before that point, though, they are just an extra 0-cost skill we get to play for the Letter Opener's sake. I think this is very much going to be the stop hitting yourself run. In as many different ways as I can make that happen. Guess I'll bring back damage. There we go. Backliner attacks us, taking 3 damage. We have the ability to kill that with the Twin Slam that comes out in 2 turns' time if we desperately want to. Well, actually, just gonna get the Thorns to get 1 kill for me. And the other one myself. Fear Potion is not going to be super relevant for us. Quartz, Amethyst, Piercing Hide. Ooh. Prismatic Barrier. Oh, gain 2 block, upgrades to 4 block for each gem in this card. I have gems and I haven't even socketed them yet. There is a world in which we put the Well, but the Prismatic Barrier is significantly better if you have decks before it. Quartz is just incredible. Amethyst is not bad here either. I think I'm gonna take Amethyst. I think I need to decrease the amount of incoming damage. Fear Potion, yeah, still doesn't really mean that much to us. We don't have much we can really do with it. the emeralds up there, actually. Just get it back instantaneously on this turn. There we go. Supremely overblock. Unfortunately, we didn't have the energy to actually play the... yeah, that'll do. Unfortunately, we didn't have the energy to actually play the bomb when we drew it, so this is just going to be a very, very slow fight. Thank heck for Thorns as well as the letter opener, otherwise it would be laboriously slow. Even more so. Fragmented Gem adds a crystal shift to hand, based on the fact that I can no longer really exploit that. At least with the way that I'm running the deck so far. It's probably not what I want to do. Emergency would give me the ability to accelerate out whatever cards I happen to put up with the recover. Just get them back into hands instantaneously. It also enables me to use the shield charge to just gain a bunch of brace, gain a bunch of block, and gain a bunch of energy. But I actually kind of want that to be spread across multiple turns, if at all possible for me. It's a consistency for us. Incinerate accelerates. Doesn't upgrade to do anything more than 3 damage. Yeah, I don't think that one's for us. I'm going to use the colorless potion here. Whoa, okay, yep. Feel pretty good about that decision now. I was choosing to use the colorless potion so that I could try and get a 3rd skill, so we have the ability to trigger the letter opener here. I mean, this is already, yeah, 40 damage to all enemies, so. So we are totally fine. Orichalcum. If you end your turn without block, gain 6 block, that's not gonna happen. Ooh, floating orbs is still here. Interesting, interesting. So definitely strength gain is still a thematic of this character. Amethyst Onyx, recover. I do like recover, but that's an Onyx. We have the ability to, I don't know, like, set it up such that we gain a Dex every time we play a certain card. Or a Thorns every time we play a certain card. Yeah. Onyx is just good. Not a huge fan of the damage taken there, but happens. Polishing Oil is enter defensive mode for 1 round. Ooh, pretty much all of these are great. Gain 5 block at the end of each turn whilst in defensive mode, and you brace 10. Upgrades to give you 8 block at the end of each turn while you're in defensive mode. I mean, I intend on triggering defensive mode consistently, so Armored Protocol stands out to me here. And it does get us closer to the defensive mode itself on the first cycle round, right? So it does something instantaneously, which is something that... especially when you are playing a slow style, such as we currently are, I can't really afford to constantly have everything. This is, as I was saying earlier, setup cards. I can't afford to have everything in the deck be, yeah, I play this and then a couple turns later I'm going to benefit from it. I need some things that give me an immediate benefit, and that's Armored Protocol, baby. That's what that do. Bomb Piercing Hide. Not going to bother throwing the Tourmaline there. Amethyst, interestingly, is the same if I play it or not. Make the enemy lose 2 strength. They get another dagger. Both the daggers deal 2 damage, or this one deals 4. Doesn't change it for me. In fact, the strikes also don't do anything here. Okay. Let's go Armored Protocol Piercing Hide, get even more thorns for the enemy. And then we will recover the bomb. I'm gonna need consistent damage, and that's how that's gonna happen. I mean, I can give the enemy 2. Yeah, I can give the enemy 2 this turn, and it's still fine. So, artifacts, temp dex, getting the permanent dex there instead. Shield charge to defend. They use 2 attacks here. They do not manage to trigger their shuriken. Definitely Piercing Hide. I want to recover Piercing Hide too, but if I do that, then I guess it has to be the double defend afterwards rather than shield charger. Incoming damage this turn is 25. No, 25 is fine. Oh, no, but I've already... Never mind, I can't even do that, right? There's no space for this to go up into. Okay. We're back into defensive mode. Yeah, sure, you can totally have a second... Whoa, no, you can't have a second attack because that's a third attack with the bomb. Almost messed up real bad there. As much as I want to play that Tourmaline, I really ought not. I think it's Amethyst, Piercing Hide, Piercing Hide, Piercing Hide. I mean, the enemy doesn't get an extra point of strength when I play the Tourmaline here, but they do take 7 more damage. Actually, it's more than 7 because they attack for an extra time against the thorns I already have. Nice try. Yikes! What? But you just went ham last turn. Oh, good gosh. Stop it. I'm actually threatened. Please, no. Oh, God. Are we actually... No. Yes? I think we have a choice here. Yeah. What turn was that? There was one time in that fight where I gave them a point of strength they otherwise wouldn't have had by defending. But other than that, they were just gaining stats how they'd gain stats. Alright. That's, like, I know I was trying to do a specifically risky thing. Not really hitting the enemy, trying to build into defense, etc. I didn't see that happening. It's a lot of damage. Alright. 29 minutes. We're just under 30, so we'll try it again. Choose a card to obtain. Sure, out of those, that's the one we'll go for. Charge core, tick to draw a card, 15 damage, place the card in stasis. Suspension to start managing other cards into stasis. I feel like let's just go charge core. Let's actually get some damage into the deck. Also going to dodge the Emerald Elite on this floor. Take the early charge core. Upgrade. I mean, it's 50% more damage on that charge core. That's significant right there. Should have just killed the frontliner there. Not a good fight. Not my best. Prismatic Barrier, Time Bomb, and Amethyst. Time Bomb places the card in stasis. When it would leave stasis, deals 22 damage to all enemies, upgrades 30. We have one rest, but it's after both elites. I'm trying to think of whether or not I can get that Prismatic Barrier fill. I'll take Time Bomb. We have like a sub-stasis theme going on here. Duplicate a card in your deck. Sure. I'm more than happy to get a couple extra cards out of that. Suspension, Crystal Ray, Roll Attack. Suspension is currently a way to just get the charge cores up there, but the thing is the charge cores are good damage. It's just really Time Bomb that I want up there. Deal 16 if you're in defensive mode. Affects all enemies, otherwise you brace 8. Let's take the Suspension. Idea being we try and use that to trigger things like the Time Bomb. Speaking of the Time Bomb, we'll just play that though. Okay, Time Bomb goes off this turn. Or rather, start of the next turn. There we go. Prismatic Spray, Laser Turret, and Ancient Attack. A Laser Turret is exactly the kind of thing we're talking about in terms of having this whole stasis build, some passive damage. May have to use one of our potions next turn. Good lord. Is it Time Bomb defend or Charge Core defend? Charge Core defend gives me the ability to kill a sentry next turn. Time Bomb's only 22 at the moment, so it still needs supplemental damage from other things to even get a kill. I took the Time Bomb specifically for this fight. I just didn't really think it was going to be up against the other two upgraded cards that deal enough damage for that to be reasonable. There you go, Time Bomb. One more strike to the back liner, and then they are dead to the bomb. Up. Thank you, Laser Strike. You've done it yourself. I'm gonna need to put some Accelerate in this deck. So Sapphire, previously the gem that would also, all the art for the gems is really good. Sapphire, previously the gem that would enter defensive mode for you, now gives you Brace 3. Oof. Piercing Hide, charge up, places card into stasis. Upgrades to increase its cost, so you get more block and more strength out of it. Take charge up right now. Centennial Puzzle, the first time you lose HP each combat, draw 3 cards. That's just real good. Wandering Spectre. This is an event I have not seen before. This area of the spire appears to be a graveyard. You carefully continue through when a strange, faint apparition stops you. It reaches out with both hands, apparently offering some sort of deal. You can tell the apparition is holding some sort of precious relic in each palm, but you can't make out what they are. But surely a harsh price is being asked in exchange. The left box is a Duvu Doll or a Darkstone Periapt, and gain Curse Twice Haunted. What's haunted? Ah, yes. Ethereal your cards. Got it. Don't think we desperately need that. Obtain a cursed key or a calling bell. It's extra cursed. So I imagine the calling bell is going to give us 2 copies of a curse we can't remove. The cursed key will give us 2 copies of a curse every single time we get to a chest. There you go. That's the word. And if we chase it away, we can get the blue candle instead, giving us the ability to try and take more curses in the future. Just because I don't know how this resolves, it is extra cursed. I think that's the one that I probably want to take. Oh. Okay, hang on. So you don't actually even choose. Well, that makes it really hard to take the other option because I never want the Darkstone Periapts. Especially against the Duvu doll. As soon as you cast the artifact from the figure, darkness envelops the room. The spectre speaks to you once more, his words appearing in your head without you ever hearing them. A wise choice. What do you say to another deal, friend? Take as many as you'd like. I mean, I can't afford to do any of these. I have no way of managing the curses. You thank the Spectre for the deal. The ghost gives you one last laborious look before continuing on its endless walk. You continue onwards as well. I'd love to get Charge Core up there. Enemy's going to wake up at the start of the next turn. There we go. Okay, Curl Up will brace me. Let's double defend and Twin Slam. One more double defend, and then strikes Ahoy as well. Beautiful. Fight could scarcely have gone better. Might be statue for a potion after every fight. None of those feel right for us. Finally, we actually get to fight you. And I'll suspend the laser turret. An extra energy is huge. It's not... This isn't just a cursed key we got early, but is an extra boss relic. This is giant. I could end up with 6 max energy if I take 2 more energy relics. Absolutely monumental. That's not even going to come out in time. Should have counted the turns. Gem Cannon, Prismatic Barrier, Temporal Shield is 100% our choice here. 10 block, draw 2 cards if you have card in stasis. The Pick of Rhapsody. You can now mine for 2 gems at rest sites up to 3 times. Planning. Place 2 cards from your draw pile into... Place the top 2 cards of your draw pile into stasis. Hang on. I think that is what it used to do, but I forgot. The end of combat, you may choose a common gem to add to your deck. You know what? That's not good. Is that going to make me redo the fight if I go out? I wanted to look at the set of common gems. Temporal Strike gives you an energy back if you have card in stasis. So this effectively just becomes a slash. A slash that also has a socket in it, mind. You Are Mine is not bad here. Removes all enemy block. Apply 3 weak and vulnerable to all enemies. Actually, it's probably You Are Mine as well as a removal. One thing I am going to have to keep an eye on, though, is making sure that I leave myself with enough money to end up removing a lot of the curses that I'm going to inevitably take as a result. As much as I want to recall something here, things like laser turret getting upgraded. Well, I mean, that's decent upgraded, but it's still not great. This is more AoE. This is slower. This is more consistent. I think ultimately all of them want to be upgraded there. Yeah, I don't think I could... there are not too many relics that I want more than I don't want the downside of that. Could have used an energy potion to use a strike there, and actually that probably was correct in retrospect. The reason that I think it was correct in retrospect... One sec. 1, 2, 3. The reason I think it was correct in retrospect is just... Wait, actually, does the charge go back? It does go back into the deck if it doesn't get put up into the stasis. Neat. The reason I think that would have been correct is because we didn't end up using any potions in this fight, and we were guaranteed to get one after the fight from the White Beast statue. Multi-beam. Increase this card's damage by 2. Interesting. Multi-beam is definitely the choice here, though. It doesn't have to be used as a tick. We don't have to play that slowly. But an X-cost card that deals damage in AoE, especially when I have an extra energy outside of the typical amount of energy you would have at this point, it's just too much. It's too much to turn down. Liquid memories. Ruby and reroute. Reroute would be good before multi-beam, but I don't want to play. I don't want to play any X costs before multi-beam a lot of the time. Oh, sorry, any cost. Anything with a cost before multi-beam a lot of the time, rather. Suspension. Honestly, we need the first one really upgraded. It's only laser turret and time bomb that we even want to put up there with suspension. Other than that, we want to actually play the cards out. I think we skip those. Liquid memories is really hard to skip. It's too powerful. Who's at the end of the floor? Defect. I can't actually remember what the boss on the first floor defect does. Great, there's the split. Good old multi-beam, spiked energy drink, model the highest cost cards in the hand, and polybeam is still here. Okay, is there a beam sub-theme still? Vent to apply vulnerability to an enemy. I feel like You Are Mine is going to cover the majority of my vulnerability over the course of these fights. I'm leaning towards not taking anything, and then the second lean is towards taking polybeam, just because I have some strength gain in this deck already. And I have another card that says the word beam, so if there are still beam sub-themes in here, we can try and do something about that. I'm gonna pass. Ah, yes! You are the buffer the heck out of yourself and then ruin me with doom and gloom. Another situation where I can't wait too long. Huh. I seem to be finding myself in a lot of positions where the boss on the first floor, if I don't kill them in the first couple rounds, I just start taking infinite damage every turn. They have scaling effects, all of them. Not all of them, actually. I shouldn't say all of them. I don't know or remember all of them just yet. Temporal Shield for a draw. You are mine. To actually try and get some debuffs out there. Debuffs to what end? I mean, the enemy's Void is going to go atop my deck. Next turn, they're probably going to use their first Doom and Gloom. Fine. Oh, no, it's Sunder, not Doom and Gloom. Even worse for us. I guess I can get back Curl Up? Or Temporal Shield, draw a card, try and find another defensive. Wait. Yeah, I can check the draw pile. Another defensive card does exist in there, and that would be more block. Thanks. Enemy's going with the Core Surge here. Let's throw... Laser Turret Strike, I guess. No real other ways around that one. I guess I'll suspend Multi-Beam this turn. Okay. Can Temporal Shield, Curl Up, probably double defend after that. I'm trying to think about, like... I'm trying to think about the speed of first floor bosses in the base game. And I think one of the things that is different here is because the bosses in Downfall generate their own block, they actually are a lot healthier than the bosses that you fight in the base game. And because of that reason, unless you are blowing them out on a single turn, you need to take a lot longer, because a lot of the time, otherwise, you're just meeting the amount of block that the enemy has generated on the turn prior. So you really need giant blowout turns. You can't just do consistent damage. And I think that's what I was running up against last run. You can't just consistently whittle away at them if you don't have a plan to blow them out. And yeah, I did have a bomb, but I didn't have the ability to play it enough times in that fight. If you don't have the ability to blow them out, you get blown out in return. Especially because it's compounded by the thing we were talking about prior of they scale. Guess I'm going to curl up here because I'm predicting a pretty large hit next turn. Totally fine. Mm-hmm. Not too much I can do there. And yeah, can't even get past the amount of block the enemy is generating on that turn. Yeah, this one doesn't end well for us. I've been ending a lot of fights recently with potions galore left up here. So I'm gonna still try and make some use of them, but we'll see. Okay, Doom and Gloom next turn, so trying to set myself up with some extra block for the next turn to hold. Yeah, there's Doom and Gloom. Outcoming is 74 damage on this turn, as well as loading the next one. Yeah. I'm gonna suspend a strike so that I can try and draw. Yeah, that one's not coming down our way. Does that mean I have to build aggressive if I want to get past the first boss? 2 different times we've attempted to do some sort of a slower style against them and just been kicked straight in the teeth for having tried. I mean, you know, there's always the possibility of trying to look towards the end boss at the start of the floor and trying to plan very specifically around them. As I'm currently not super familiar with all of the new characters, the new bosses rather, and their play styles, their patterns, etc. That's a little less reliable for me to do, but I can definitely start thinking about that in the future. It's Ascension 10 though. Huh. Alright, I'm gonna have to find ways to plan around. I mean, like, if I want to play a slow deck, I need to be able to defend upwards of 100 relatively consistently. 74 here, we saw the 80 turn in the previous fight. Yikes. It's kind of like the bosses on the first floor are the automaton. That's a bit what it feels like. In the automaton has a giant turn that they're working their way up to the entire time that does 56 damage. And then the next turn they're stunned. But not that. I'm gonna have to analyze this roadblock I keep running into in the future because I can't have too many episodes of a loss in a row. That's just not the Rhapsody way. Next time up, we have the Hexaghost. The Hexaghost is oftentimes more leaning into an aggressive strategy because I am trying to fast forward my way through the cycles and trying to get as quickly as I possibly can to the Infernos and such. Just stepping through, trying to activate all the Ghost Flames. So I feel like that is going to be a playstyle that's going to lean me more in a direction that is going to be successful here on the first floor, but that is the kind of thing that we have to find out in the next episode. Until then, my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Slay the Spire Downfall. That's been the first floor. I hope you like the first floor, because that's a whole lot of it right there. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.